You are now listening to Wave a Sound.
Welcome to Versus Mike History. I'm your host, Michael History. In episode 103, Ace joins the podcast to speak on his journey leading up to the creation of his brand, the influence of older friends when developing design choices and style, how to bring up the people building around you, and more. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to the podcast wherever you choose to listen. Subscribe to our newsletter for brand updates and podcast recommendations, and join our members-only community on Patreon for access to exclusive content. For everything else, go to versusmikehistory.com. Peace, family. Welcome to another episode of Versus Mike History. I'm your host, Mike History, and we got Ace in the building.
Yo,
What's going on, brother?
What's up, man? How you?
I'm good. How about you introduce yourself to the people and let them get to know you a little bit?
My name is Ace, from Patterson, New Jersey. That's it, really. I'm a designer. Well, not really just a designer. I do a lot of things. I'm a man in many hats. But I got a clothing brand called The Extinct Breed. I'm also into fitness. I like working out and stuff. On my way to become a personal trainer. So if any of you need that, holla at your boy. Yeah.
Word. All right. And one of the first questions I usually ask guests when they come on is, what are you listening to? So what's going on in your rotation right now?
I recently stumbled back into a lot of Madlib and Quasimodo. I just watched like the Stone's Throw documentary, so I fell back into that rabbit hole of stuff, like all his works. It's a lot.
Word. Yeah, it's a lot. Very talented individual.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and get into your journey, right? What you currently have your brand, The Extinct Breed, but that couldn't have been the first thing that you put your hands on design wise. So let's take it all the way back to the beginning when you first discovered that you had an interest for design and putting together things.
Well, the first, I never really thought I was gonna be like a designer. I just like clothes, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I was always into like different things when I was like younger, like different types of clothes and things. I didn't have, I didn't have a lot when I was little, but what I did, I made do with what I had. You feel me? Because around the time, times is different now. I'm 30, so like growing up in like the early 2000s, we didn't have like money to be buying like designer and all of like the kids now in high school. I don't even know where they getting that bread from, but
Yeah,
it's
it's
different.
different.
Like, you feel me?
It's a different day.
Yeah, we wasn't wearing all of that stuff. We had what you had. Most of the time I was thrifting too. So I
Mm-hmm.
got from that era, just thrifting a lot, getting cool things for cheap and just putting it together.
Yeah. I feel like we definitely I feel like we're definitely living in an era where it's way easier to dress well. Like I feel like in the early 2000s and even in the late 90s to an extent, like it's like you had pockets of areas where like there were like huge fashion trends, but in terms of like general style, that was much harder to accomplish before like this era, the social media era that we're living in now.
Definitely. And plus you can get obviously a lot of things online now on the internet and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
My time, it was just like I witnessed like the rise of the internet, which is crazy to me. Like
Mm-hmm.
I remember when the internet was just like dial up, like you used to have to wait for somebody to go off the phone to use it. And we would just be playing like computer games and shit like that, like not even really using it for what its real purpose was, you feel me?
Mm-hmm. So when was the first you said that you grew up putting together garments and thrifting and things of that nature, just being interested in fashion, but what gave you your first opportunity to actually create something?
Well, I was inspired by my homie, my big homie OJ. He is the main one who put me on to like a lot of things. I used to have like this group. I think I was probably like seventh, eighth grade, like just before coming into high school. They used to have a group called Kid Nerds, and they used to skate and stuff and all that. They used to make like crew necks and all of that kind of thing. And I was interested in that. Plus, I had some other homies I used to hang out with all the time, and Chonga Willis. Shout out to homie Tracy and all of them. Jordan and his other brother. I'm forgetting his name. Pardon me, but they had a brand called COG, Center of Gravity. I used to like that brand a lot too. So just a lot of the older people I used to be around. I used to see like the things they was doing, and I wanted to get into that. So I just found my own lane and started. First thing I started out with was like it's always been called the extinct breed,
Mm-hmm.
but I started off with like a simple design. It was like a zombie hand that I had one of the homies draw up for me. And that was like the main first thing I did. Then I stopped for a while because this game, like a lot of people, they don't give out information for me. So I had to learn a lot of things through trial and error.
Mm-hmm.
So I had stopped for a while just to learn like the basics. And what was that? Probably I would say about two, 3 years. I was just like soaking up game, feel me, just learning things.
Mm.
That's when I started like using the internet more because that was the time around like message boards and things like that, like Soul Collector, like Nike Talk, like people would post things on. And I just be talking to people just to find out things. And then
Right.
around the time like what was this, like I guess the Facebook era? It was this what was it? It was something called the brand with no name. I was following that for a while, and they were posting like just basically a bunch of like sites and things, like a bunch of resources that I still use to this day. Like I found a lot of things that was helpful on there, like the different ounces of shirts and things like that, fabrics, like things of that nature, silk screen and all that, different methods. But when I first started, it was like heat press. Like I didn't really know anything but that.
Mm-hmm.
You just go to Walmart, you get the little paper, you get your design, you put on that, then you iron out, like the stuff they do in the mall,
Right.
like that process. And then it,
Mm-hmm.
it don't last long, it cracks and all of that.
Of course, of
So
course.
that's the way that I started. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
And then it just continued to grow. Like I kept getting better and better and better. And I still feel that to this day. Like each time I drop something, I get better. Like just from what like all the information and stuff that I gain. I always just try to get better and better. You feel me?
Yeah, of course. Why? So that you raise an interesting point, which is that in the fashion industry or at least in streetwear, when you're coming up, it's very difficult to obtain information or at least like streamline information to a directly successful venture. And you got to you got to do the real legwork to like um retain that information in order to like get the right keys to move in the right directions. Why do you think that it's that way? Because everybody isn't going to do the same thing with all of the right information.
Personally, I just feel like people are afraid of like competition.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to. They want to keep it like not even just competition, but if you got like a golden goose, you're not about to just like share with everyone. You got
Yeah.
like, I feel like most people think like that. But just like you said, like everyone doesn't think the same. It's because you got the same resources doesn't really mean that we're gonna make like the same type of thing from it. Everyone has like different creative agenda. But there's also some people who like in this game, they just copy or they remake things that they see. That a lot of that goes on as well. But in my opinion, the cream is always gonna rise to the top. So just
Yeah.
stick to your guns, and if it's hot, people gonna rock with it.
It's just mind boggling to me because, how do we get to the point where we start our own brands and then we feel like, all right, that's where the cap has to has to end, like right when I stop my brand. But it's just interesting to me, but Anyway, it leads me into another question of which another question which is when seeking creative peers or when just coming across different people within your network who may do similar things, how do you foster those relationships in a positive manner rather than following in those people's footsteps with gatekeeping information?
Me, I just like helping people. Like if you got like a dope idea and there's any way I can contribute to it, that's the kind of person I am. Like
Mm-hmm.
even people like younger homies now, like they want to start things like brands and stuff. I help them out, give them all the information, like where to get links or anything like that. Design, whatever. Like whatever you need help with, I'm that guy that's willing to help. And I feel like that creates community as when everyone can share resources. Because
Mm-hmm.
you don't want to just be the only person doing something and not like bring people up. Like that's not the way that I was brought up. You feel me?
Right.
If you my homie, if I got something, you got something as well. You feel me? Like if I got $1, you got 50 cents type shit. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
That's just the way. Like that's just the kind of person I am.
Yeah. And what type of do you think that there's such thing as overreaching when looking for information?
What you mean by that? Like overreaching how?
People who feel like they're entitled to certain connects or plugs that you may have that you may not necessarily feel like sharing right away.
Oh yeah,
Depend.
definitely. Yeah. Like there's some form of entitlement, but I mean,
Mm-hmm. Just comes with the game.
yeah, that I mean that comes with everything, really. Not even
Mm-hmm.
just clothes, like any type of thing.
Right.
People just, and so you gotta weed out those people who like just trying to befriend you before that connection. You feel me? Because it's a lot of that too. And
Mm-hmm.
then they one and done. Like once they get what they need, they ain't even rocking with you no more like that.
Right.
You got a lot. You just gotta be, selective and
Yeah.
smart with it.
Most definitely. All right. Well, so you get your brand started up and now you're getting sales. At what point do you feel like hey, let's take this on the road. Let's bring this show to people in person and let's start like getting the brand out into these different events that people are putting together. How does how do you start to, foster that relationship of collaborating with people who put together pop-up shops?
Mostly through like the internet and like by word of mouth, like people, because I'm a very, even though I'm a friendly dude, like I really keep to myself a lot
Mm-hmm.
for the most part. So it's mostly other people speaking on my behalf because they like what I do, or just like people like messaging me like on social media and things like that. That's for the most part. Like social media plays a big part in me doing like pop-ups and stuff. Because I don't honestly, I'm a homebody, bro. If I'm not
Yeah,
like at
I
work,
get it.
I'm in the house, man, just creating and my world, my bubble. You feel me?
Mm-hmm. And how important do you think that is? Being able to maintain um like a personal bubble to be able to create in versus, you know, being out in the world and interacting with everybody and taking inspiration in that way. What do you think that there's a balance, or do you think that you can be all in on one?
Nah, there's definitely like a balance. Like you can't be in all the time. Like you got just like as like rappers would say, like you got to go out and live life to be able to come back and like make an album type shit. Like that's the same way I
Mm-hmm.
apply it to myself. Like I hang out for like probably like a week or two, then probably won't see me for like a whole month after that. Like just I get inspiration from a lot of different things, everyday life type things. I could be outside walking and I see something like a sign or just like some type of typography, or even sound like somebody had said, like somebody dropping a game. You could turn anything into like a design, really. It's just all about how you present it, you feel me?
Yeah, for sure.
It's just
Um,
all about how creative you can get with it.
Most definitely. Um, so let's talk about influences a bit, because everybody has their own style, but before you develop your own style, you have to have some sort of foundational I feel like design education, and that comes in the form of inspiration from different places. And I'm always curious to know where people pull their inspiration from when initially like developing their taste for design.
Well, like I said before, my inspirations is like the older homies who I was like seeing around and about and hanging out with from time to time. Like my older homie OJ, he was like he's a skater, so he had like that kind of style, just like wearing a bunch of like crazy stuff. I'm like, oh, where'd you get this? Where you get that? He like bring me to the thrift with him sometimes. I found out through a lot of stuff with him. Really, he put me out to a lot of stuff like Supreme, all those types of brands because I didn't really know anything about that. I just knew like I go down like downtown to my town and whatever he
Hmm.
had down there, like that's what my mom was getting me. You feel me? Like
Okay.
Paco jeans, Mesquite, all the hood brands, good stuff.
So once you establish the brand, how then do you allow the culture surrounding you to influence how you design moving forward?
So once I started like coming out to my own, like as I got older, like in high school, I was more so like into like the other things like different from my parents, probably like influenced by like Pharrell, like the cool kids, like just things of that nature, like just
Hmm.
those styles. Like, you listen to a lot of music and seeing things like on the internet. It's like I said, that's the time where we transition from like actually being outside to like being on the internet a lot.
Hmm.
See like DVDs, YouTube videos, ice cream, skate team, all that kind of stuff. All types of forms of media, you feel me? Just influence from that, all of that stuff. I watch a lot of documentaries, interviews, movies. I'm influenced by a lot of stuff, man. Whatever I can like take in and like flip it in my own way, that's just what I do. Everything is an inspiration for me. It can be the smallest thing.
Word. You spoke about community before. I'm curious to know how you use the extinct breed to like impact the surrounding community, whether that be Patterson or like Jersey in general. And how do you feel like how do you feel like your platform is useful to bringing community together?
Um, I would say uh helping like all the younger people, like I said, who are maybe interested in fashion or not even so much fashion, just like doing creative things.
Hmm.
I always try to like if somebody come to me and ask me something, I always try to not take them under the wing, but I always show them a way to where so they don't really need me anymore. Like I give them the information and I tell them what to do, and I check up on like them from time to time. Like, yo, how you doing? You good? You still need help with this? And by the time I come back around, they good. Like they already got stuff up and running. Feel me?
Word. Yeah.
They learn fast.
How important do you feel like the growth of your brand is to the surrounding environment? And when I say that, I mean like as your brand grows, do you feel like it's a duty for you to grow within the space of where you establish yourself, or do you think it's your duty to the brand to um take it to wherever um it flourishes the most in size?
I really try to move at my own pace.
Hmm.
Like I know it's a day and age where it's a lot of brands that pop up. Well, not overnight. I don't want to say overnight, but you get like those celebrity endorsements and all that kind of stuff. And then you don't hear about the brand no more after that. Like I'm not really into like that kind of side. I'd rather people grow with me organically, you feel me? Like the where I love word of mouth. Because if somebody likes something, they're definitely gonna tell other people about it. And then so on and so forth. Word of mouth, that's what really like helped me with my brand. especially if you're making like quality items. That's gonna stand the test of time. You feel me? That's what's always important to me. You gotta stick to your guns. Like
Mhm.
trends are cool. I feel like you can move with the trends, but you have to do it in your own way. That's gonna stand out from the rest. That's what's most important to me.
Right. Um, I kind of want to. You said something interesting that made me think of a an interesting point, which is about sticking to your guns, and it just made me think about quality and pricing, because those are two things that I feel like a lot of people struggle with when it comes to establishing their brands, and even from a consumer standpoint, where consumers have they often struggle with associating a price range with a certain brand because of how they identify with a brand in their head. How do you go about establishing um price points for your brand, and how do you consistently look for the best quality in products?
Well, pricing wise, that's just based on I based it on a few things like obviously the amount like it took for me to produce the garments or whatever. That's always come into play.
Mm-hmm.
And then just so much also the quality of the garment. Like if it's just a t-shirt, I'm not about to, some brands, I mean, they can get away with it. Some people out here charging like 50, 60, $70 for a t-shirt. Just in like me as a person, I would never pay that much, so I'm not gonna charge that much. There's no t-shirt to me that should be way more than at least $30. Granted, with like inflation and all those things going on, you feel me? Because even back then, like I was buying like Stussy t-shirts and like vape and all of that stuff, I never paid more than like $40 or $50. So I feel like that's like a good starting like price to me because you also see a lot of brands that are just starting, which is they feel like their art, like their artwork or whatever design, they feel that should be the base of the price point as well, which I'm not mad at. Like I understand that, but the quality of the shirt or whatever garment they have it on may not be like worth the price that they're putting as. You get me?
Mm-hmm.
So definitely see a lot of that. So I try to just make the best quality that I can, but also get my design across to whereas I'm not overpaying for, because sometimes you take losses. Like you'll pay a lot for something and then you'll price it, but it don't sell. That's another factor too. Like it has to be just the perfect amount. You don't want to overpay and you also don't want to overprice it. Like it's a fine line. It's like it has to be like right in the middle to where it's good for the consumer and also good for you. It has to be good for both parties. But where I find like my items, always a lot of people are using Alibaba now, which is good and dangerous at the same time because they may say something is such and such quality, and then you get the sample and it's like, this is not that. You just gotta be, you gotta know, you gotta do your Googles. You gotta know what you're looking for because there's a lot of people running game out here, like manufacturer wise. You gotta know what you want and how specifically that you want it. You feel me? That's how I go about it. Like I always try to do my research to the T when I'm looking for things because you don't want to get scammed, and that happens a lot on Alibaba. So I always try to find things more so in person before I go to that app because you don't really have to go on there because all that stuff is coming from like China anyway. There's a bunch of like manufacturers. If you look locally, you can find a lot of factories and things like that in the industry. You just have to do your research. So most of the time I go to like New York, like the Garment District area and all that stuff. And now I'll find out like think you can find stuff over there just like the same you can find on Alibaba. You just have to look. It's just more so like a convenience thing. So all
Mm.
you have to do is like go on the computer and like talk to people. I guess most, it's like you gotta do the legwork.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what's the future for the extinct breed? Is it cut and sew? Is it scaling? Is it moving into a different area of design? What are we thinking about?
I want to do it all, man. Honestly, everything, anything that I can do creatively,
Mm-hmm.
I want to do with Extinct Breed. I don't want it to just be a brand. I kind of want it to be like a house, like a design house. I want to shoot commercials and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Do like ads for other brands, just like I guess a creative, yeah, like a creative studio. Want to do it all.
Mm-hmm. And as you continue to create and grow a brand, how do you consistently hone your skills and uh gain education along the way?
YouTube, man, YouTube University. I learned a lot of things from YouTube, even like graphic as far as graphic design. I'm not the greatest, but I know like the basics just off of YouTube. I got other homies that went to school for that. So if I got a problem with something, I'm gonna go to them. But YouTube, man, YouTube and the internet. It's free school. It's free school right there.
Yeah,
School.
1000%.
You just got to know how to use it wisely.
Yeah. All right. I think that's pretty much it. We pretty much covered everything. I feel like I had more for you, but I think we covered everything. This has been cool. Uh, Ace is in the building. Extinct breed. Let the people know where they can find you on social media.
Instagram, you can follow my personal page at He Is I Am Him. That's HEISIAMHIM. Extinct Breed business page. That's THEXTINCTBREED. That's one E in the middle of the beginning of the extinct. I don't want to put two E's, that gets confusing on social media. Also have another like blog page that I'm working on. It's called Silk City Shooter. I'm starting to like take pictures and stuff like with film cameras. You can follow that too. Just how it sounds, Silk City Shooter. And yeah, my website, same way it's spelled as the Instagram name is THEXTINCTBREED.com, theextinctbreed.com. You can find old and new products. Got a lot of stuff up there. Check it out.
And do you have any pop-ups coming up anytime soon?
Not at the moment, but I am working on towards having my own standalone pop-up shop sometime in the near future.
All right, awesome, awesome. And as always, folks, you can find everything versus Mike History related at versusmikehistory.com. Sign up for that newsletter at newsletter.versusmikehistory.com. We got exclusive content over at Patreon, patreon.com/versusmikehistory. And go get some merch from our marketplace, versusmikehistory.com/shop. And we on social media at versus Mike History on Instagram, Fanbase, and TikTok. VS Mike History on Twitter. And yeah, it's been cool, people. And I'll see you at the next episode. So peace out.